So you're an intermediate, maybe even an advanced level speaker. Maybe you have your C1 or even C2 certificate. Maybe you have your 7 band of IELTS, whatever exam, but you still don't feel fluent. You still can't say what you want to say, how you want to say it. Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you 3 steps, 3 practical steps for you to start today and implement them to take control of your English and feel more fluent. Let's go. Hey there, English speakers. I'm Jesse, and I help advanced level speakers take control of their English so that they can say what they want to say, how they want to say it, without hesitation, without blocks, and without frustration, and also without studying grammar. So if you like that idea, if you like the material on this channel, then click subscribe and the bell so you get new videos every week. But let's get into it. I have 3 tips today for the advanced speaker, because if you're watching me, let's face it, you're at least an intermediate to advanced level, right? Because I'm not slowing down my speech. I'm not giving 3 tips for 3 phrasal verbs to say in a business meeting, right? We're going deeper than that and really talking about fluency, right? We're taking your language, what you know, the grammar you know, the vocabulary you know, and really helping you apply it so that you can be a more fluent English speaker and a more confident English speaker. So the first step in bridging the gap between advanced and fluent is setting your expectations. Setting your expectations. You see, I talk to a lot of non-native English speakers. I talk to a lot of English learners in business, doctors, lawyers, CEOs, executives of businesses, small business owners, and one thing keeps coming up is that they say, I can't find the words to say what I want to say. And usually with my clients, I ask them, well, what do you want, right? What are your expectations? What do you want? And I generally find that there are one of two expectations people have, right? One is they say, I want to speak English like a native speaker. Sorry, you're not a native speaker. So we need to adjust that expectation, right? We need to adjust it. That's like saying, I want to slam dunk a basketball like LeBron James. Well, I mean, come on. Let's change my expectations. I want to go and play for Real Madrid or Barcelona. Choose your team. Sorry, I'm 41 years old and I don't really have football playing experience, right? So let's change our expectations. The other expectation that I get from people is, I don't know. I just want to speak and I want to speak fluently. And then I ask, what is it? What does it mean to speak fluently, right? So that's the first thing. Identify your expectations, right? Identify exactly what you want. If you say, I want to be fluent, you might need to identify what that means. You see, fluency is a word that gets thrown around, and a lot of the times we don't know what it actually means. I've heard everywhere from sounding exactly like a native speaker to being able to communicate and express my thoughts. What does fluency mean to you, right? And it's time to really get specific in what you want. I want to be able to tell stories. I want to be in a variety of situations and not worry about my English level. I want to be able to say what I want to say and how I want to say it, right? These are more specific goals. If you just say, I want to be fluent, what does that mean, right? So that's the step one. Set and solidify expectations that really coincide with your goals and what you need English for, which is kind of a sub point. What do you need English for? Do you need it to talk to clients? Do you need it to do research? Do you need it to build relationships? Is it just a hobby, right? What do you need English for, right? And set the proper expectations for that. The next step to take after you have your expectations, the next step is, what are you actively doing to reach those expectations? What are you actually doing, the action steps that you're taking to actually make that possible, to reach your expectations? You have your goals. You have your specific expectations. Let's take, for example, I want to be able to say what I want to say, how I want to say it, without real hesitation. Right? Let's say that's a nice solid plan. That's a nice solid goal, right? Now we need a plan to go with that goal. And again, in the calling process, when I talk to potential clients, when I talk to people on the phone, I ask them, what are you currently doing to improve your English? And I'll ask you that too. What are you currently doing to improve your English, to reach that expectation? And you might want to put me on pause and give this some thought and write down what you're doing, right? Because if you write it down, you might come up with a different answer than you're thinking right now. Because when I ask potential clients on the phone, what are you currently doing? A lot of the times, if they're doing anything, a lot of times they're not doing anything because they don't know how, right? Which is not your fault, by the way. But they'll say something like, well, I watch YouTube videos in English, and I watch Netflix, and I watch series. And I say, oh, great. How is that working for you? I think it's working okay. But you just told me that you're not feeling the progress you want, right? So the next thing is set a series of steps, action steps for you to do, and really be honest about your improvement, right? A goal without a plan is just a wish, right? Have you heard that before? A goal without a plan is just a wish. It's not a goal because there's no way for you to get there, right? It's just this idea that you want, right? So the first thing, set your expectations. Step two, plan out your steps that you have to do to reach that expectation, to reach that goal. You see, you need steps and you need a plan to reach something. So let's take, for example, Netflix, right? You're watching Netflix. That's great to get an ear for the language. That's great for understanding and catching the rhythm of how we speak, right? We have a certain rhythm of how we speak in English, and listening and watching series is great for that. But it won't really help you become more fluent. It won't help you take control of your fluency, right? So instead, something you could do is have a specific show. And I recommend something like The Simpsons, something like The Office, something that is light and that you're familiar with. Those are two really important things, right? Watch something that, if you're trying to improve, watch something that's light, meaning it's not really like Breaking Bad. It's not this heavy content, right? It's lighthearted, it goes quickly, and something you're familiar with. Most people are familiar with The Simpsons, right? I like doing this in Spanish. I like watching The Simpsons in Spanish because, I mean, especially the earlier and mid-season Simpsons, I'm so familiar with those. I pretty much, in English, I say the lines with them, and I still laugh at it. All right. So then if you watch it in a different language, then you're kind of like understanding, you're picking it up, you're saying, that's how they say that. right? And you're picking out expressions. And when you pick out those expressions that you recognize or that are useful for you, take out the expressions that you hear and then write them down in your notebook. And if you want, I can show you how I organize my language learning notebook, and I tell you how I teach my clients to organize their notebook so it can be memorable and so that you can actually learn these expressions, right? So throw away looking for vocabulary and building your vocabulary. That's not really gonna help. That's gonna help you get more vocabulary, but it's not gonna help you actually use it, right? So look for word groups and expressions in something you watch, right? So step 2, well, recap. Step 1, have a solid expectation to reach. And step 2, create a plan to reach that expectations, right? And step 3 is probably, actually, it is the hardest step, because now you're taking that plan and you're putting feet on that plan. That's a good expression, put feet on it. Put feet on that plan. That's not a super common expression, but it's good to know. It's good to learn. By the way, maybe this is a good topic for another video in the future, but knowing the difference between expressions to know and expressions to use. There are some expressions that are good to just know because maybe if you hear them in a movie or a series or a song. And then there are other expressions that are good to learn to use, right? Because they're common, because they're useful, right? But that's a side issue. But on this, create a plan, right? You have your plan, put feet on your plan, take steps towards that plan. And what do those steps look like? Well, I help my clients understand. We create their expectations. We create a plan for them to reach their expectations. And I tell them which steps daily and weekly that they need to do and different focuses to reach that goal, right? But you can do this for yourself if you're disciplined and if you're motivated, right? So you look at your plan, look at your goal, create a plan, and then just think, what do I have to do next, right? So like I said, let's take The Simpsons, right? You're watching The Simpsons, you have your notebook organized, and you take expressions out, right? These are steps, right? You take expressions out, and then you practice the expressions that you learned. And you might want to watch that episode or that scene 2 or 3 times to really absorb the language, because that's what I teach. I want you to absorb the language. We're not just studying something that's dead, right? This is a language. We're moving and it's communication, right? So take expressions out, practice it, really absorb what you're listening to, and this will really help you make the language yours. Does that make sense? It will help you make the language, make it meaningful to you, right? Taking steps, again, is the hardest part because these are the actual actions that you have to take day after day after day, because consistency is key. Like, there's no getting around it. Sorry, there's no magic pill. There's no way you can study in a class for 90 minutes on a Tuesday and Thursday and expect to be fluent. Like, that's not how it works, right? The same way you couldn't practice football 2 times a week and expect to become a professional or expect to grow, right? It takes consistency. And I teach my clients that 30 minutes a day is plenty. If you're spending a lot more than 30 minutes a day, then you're probably not being as efficient as you should with your time. And so if you decrease your time, you'll increase your efficiency, most likely. I like what Mike Tyson said. He said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? You can set your plan and you can study for 1 or 2 or 3 days, and then it will get hard because then you'll have extra assignments at school or work, and someone will be sick, or you will be sick, or you will run out of time, or somebody will call you and say, hey, let's go down to the cafe or the bar and have a drink, or you'll get distractions or something like this. This is where discipline and accountability come in, right? Try to have an accountability partner to keep yourself on track, and remember your steps, remember your final destination, remember your plan, take the action steps to get to that plan, and your fluency will grow automatically, right? Your fluency will grow automatically if you take these steps and you practice, meaning you don't really need a speaking partner. If you have one, cool, but you have your phone that you can record your voice based on what you just watched, right? So that's a good strategy. You watch something, have some study time, record a short 1 or 2 minute audio on what you watched, and that language will just absorb in your mind. Does that make sense? So these are the 3 steps that you need to take from where you are as an intermediate or advanced level speaker to really owning the language, really taking control of the language and advancing yourself, being comfortable to a nice fluent level so that the words just kind of flow out. You get it? Flow out, become fluent. Well, that's it for me. Those are my 3 steps to become more fluent, to become fluent from an advanced or intermediate speaker. If you want to understand more about my process and what I do for my clients, then book a call. I'll put a link down below in the description box. You can book a call. We can talk for about 30 to 40 minutes and really dissect your goals, identify what you want, identify what are the biggest barriers blocking you, and then we will create a plan for you to reach your goals, right? And then if it would be the right decision for us to work together, we can talk about that too. So book a call below. If not, join me at Sweet Academy at the blog, or check out my courses at Sweet Academy, and I will see you next week.